Tisha Tuesday had me pausing, rewinding, and shaking my head all at the same time. I am not exaggerating. Now, you know how every week jumps on live with that squeaky little voice of hers, talking like she's just catching up with some girlfriends? Well, baby, this week's session was something else. I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video because I promise you, the way the pieces connect between Tisha, Stormy Steele, and even Nell Fletcher is going to have you looking at Huntsville with new eyes. So sit back, grab your drink, and let's break this all the way down together. Now, Tisha kicked off her little Tuesday talk by trying to defend herself against the fans. You know, the ones that follow her just to comment negative things under her posts. She said plain and simple that people better stop following her if they're only going to talk mess. That was her warning. But the part that made me raise an eyebrow was when she started talking about Nell Fletcher. She admitted that she underestimated Nell and said she had been sleeping on her. And see, that right there told me everything. Because the moment she acknowledged Nell, she opened the door to all the drama that's been building between them. If you remember, Nell has been cool-headed, classy, and kind, even when Tisha tried to come at her sideways. At that dinner, when Nell asked her about infidelity, she was calm. At her party, when Tisha acted up, she still kept it cute. But now suddenly, Tisha wants to say she slept on Nell? Baby, no. The truth is, she knows Nell is sharper than she thought, and she's starting to feel that heat. And then here's where the delusion set in. Tisha tried to flip the script and say Nell only has an issue with her because somebody else fed her information. And who do you think she was hinting at? None, other than Melody Sherry. Yes, the same Melody who's been done with Marceau and Letitia's energy for a while now. So, here's Tisha trying to act like Nell's opinions about her are based on Melody's influence. But if you've been paying attention, you know that's not the case. Nell doesn't need Melody to put ideas in her head. Nell watched Tisha's behavior all on her own. And let's be real, Tisha has this way of jumping in other people's business, stirring the pot, and then acting shocked when folks clap back. So, when she tried to paint herself as the victim once again, saying Nell only feels some type of way because of Melody, it just didn't add up. And baby, let's not forget the way Tisha brought up this whole "you can't get too comfortable" around certain women or they might blackmail you thing. Now, who exactly was she talking about? She didn't say names, but the way she dropped that line had me wondering if she was hinting at Destiny Payton or maybe even Nell again. Because one thing about Tisha, she loves to throw a little shade without giving full details, like she wants the audience to fill in the blanks for her. And let me tell you, that only makes her look even more messy. But here's what took me out. Tisha actually said that people haven't even seen her real side yet, that they don't know Besma. She claimed that when she turns up, that's her real self coming through. And if you know anything about Marceau Scott and the way he constantly talks down to her, treating her like a child on camera, it's not surprising that when Tisha drinks and feels comfortable, she slips and shows another side. It's wild to hear her proudly say people don't know Besma yet, like it's supposed to scare us. But all it really does is confirm what Marceau has been saying for years about her being from the other side of the tracks. That's literally his words, not mine. And in moments like these, you really see just how much influence Wanda, her mother, had on her, because baby, that attitude is Wanda all over again. Now, speaking of Marceau, you can tell there's tension brewing because Tisha brought up their marriage therapy. She claimed she was being transparent and open about wanting to go to counseling with Marceau. But let's keep it real here. How transparent can you be if the audience doesn't even know the root of the problem? We've seen Marceau talk to her like a child, dismiss her feelings, and leave her confused more times than we can count. But the deeper issues? We haven't heard. Those explained it all. So, when she sits there and tries to act like she's being completely open, it doesn't match up with what we see on screen. And honestly, that makes the whole therapy situation feel more like damage control than actual healing. And let me not forget, she brought up Marceau being in Atlanta. Now, do you remember that truck scene where she was practically in tears asking him who he was in Atlanta with? Well, now she's suddenly saying she knew he was there all along. Which one is it? Because the way she was questioning him on camera, it sure didn't look like she had any idea who he was with or why. She was shook in that truck, pressing him about Chris Fletcher, and Marceau was dodging like usual. And now, she's backtracking, trying to make it sound like she knew all along. It's the contradictions for me. So yeah, Tisha Tuesday gave us plenty to chew on, but before you even catch your breath from all that, the story shifts straight into Martell Holt and his court situation. And baby, if you thought the Tisha mess was wild, this will leave you stunned. Because as of now, the revenge case that Melody Sherry had against Martell has been dropped down to third-degree harassment. Communications. That's right, not revenge, not first degree, not even probation anymore. They took it all the way down to something light, and Martell only has to pay a $300 fine and $100 in court fees. That's it. Now, let's just pause for a moment. From a serious charge that had him staring at probation and public shame, Martell walks out basically with a slap on the wrist. And here's the part that's got everyone talking. How exactly did that happen? Some folks are saying maybe Huntsville is just that small of a town where everybody knows everybody. Others are saying Martell must have ties in the court system because somehow things always seem to fall in his favor just when he's on the verge of real consequences. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time rumors about him having connections behind the scenes have popped up. And Melody Sherry, just imagine how she must feel. She put her voice out there, she stood firm in her position, and then the system basically shrunk his case down to something that doesn't even hold much weight. If anything, it almost feels like her voice was dismissed, and that's why so many fans are outraged. Because when you threaten someone, when you cross those boundaries, and then all you get is a $400 bill, it sets a dangerous example. But Martell being Martell, you know he's going to walk away from this acting like he won. He'll probably turn this into a storyline of him being misunderstood, a father who's just trying to be heard, someone who's unfairly targeted. And the scary part is, there are always going to be fans who buy into that, which makes it even more important for people to look deeper at what really happened here. So make sure you stay with me until the end, because the way Martell's situation ties back into Stormy Steele's recent moves is going to surprise you. Speaking of Stormy, let's switch gears for a second. Because while all this drama is unfolding, she's out here building a TikTok academy. That's right. Stormy Steele announced on her story that she's starting a program to mentor young kids and teach them how to sell on TikTok, just like she did. She made sure to highlight that she was the first to hit $1 million, writing that word in all caps like she had something to prove. And you know what? Even though it might sound a little shady in the way she emphasized it, we can't deny that has the receipts. She really did build her brand and turn TikTok into a money-making machine. But at the same time, you can feel the little digs. She didn't have to stress the word first so hard. But she did, and fans noticed. Because we all know Melody. Sherry has also been moving her business in similar ways, promoting her products, creating her lane, and making her mark. So when Stormy makes it a point to separate herself by saying she was the first, it's almost like she's drawing a line in the sand.